Could you be the perfect woman I'm looking for? Okay.
You never know.
Never know.
Yeah, you
Keep
never
watching.
know.
Keep watching.
Okay.
Let's try this out. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
My name is Paul.
Yes, I'm Trevor.
I would like you to be my eyes.
It's okay, it's okay.
Now, today I'm seated here with a lady.
Yes.
I would like you to describe her for me so that I can see whether I should spend the fare on her.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that she has a beautiful smile.
Beautiful smile, okay?
Yes. She's wearing a black top.
Black top,
She has glasses.
okay.
Yes.
What else? Describe her face.
A beautiful face.
Does she have dimples?
Artificial.
Oh, even yourself, you're laughing.
Yeah, I'm trying to be descriptive as much as possible.
Ama, you want to give me competition?
No. Niko sawa.
Uko sawa?
I'm okay.
Usio compare Osafi. Eh? So continue describing. Yeah?
I think the rest maybe you can.
She can tell. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome.
So you see, that's the essence of technology. So,
So that's someone. That's someone.
obviously, that's someone is technology, and I can tell you that for me, if ask me about the relationship I have with technology, it's as if it's my girlfriend's. And there's an article I've written, should people marry AI, artificial intelligence? In my website, you can check it out at disabilitysausagemedia.com. Because for me, simply technology has really created.
So guys, it's your girl Irene again here, and of course this is Brahma TV. Those who have subscribed, thank you so much. Those who haven't subscribed, please subscribe and comment, of course share and hit that notification bell so that anytime to upload new videos, you'll be among those will be getting it first, our first gang to get our videos. So today actually we are blessed to have a very how can I describe him?
Simple man.
Yeah. We're just blessed to have like how can I put it? Yeah, but tuko na mgeni mwingine hapo mkali sana, and we will learn more, like actually like we'll be like informed about like so many things that we didn't know. Wow. In a special way nataka kumkaribisha. Actually acha jitambulishe yeye mwenyewe.
COVID imeisha at least.
Yes. Imekuwa long since tusalimiane.
Ni kweli.
And to an extent like we have adapted like kugota,
Yes,
like
yes.
waving, you know. Yeah.
So wananiita majina ya kiserikali Paul Mogambi. But kwa mtaa watu wengi wananijua kama mpofu number 1.
Mpofu number 1.
Yes. Mpofu number 1 is a name which came about because of you see our language, the way we place it about issues of personal disabilities, na kuwa na ile hali ya kudhalilisha na kutokuwa na uhai. So since watu wamezoea zile ngeli zilikuwa za kitambo za kivi, kulikuwa na ile kiti, kiatu,
Yeah.
kipofu.
Yeah.
So nikasema nikaainisha I'll give life to that name.
Okay.
Ndio sasa nikaweka ile ngeli ya mua, so hivyo ni
Oh.
mpofu number 1.
Okay.
So ukiitwa that name now, it signifies there is a life from that name. And that's why we encourage people not to be calling us hizo ngeli za kivi as personal abilities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Mpofu
Number 1.
number 1.
Yeah.
Na sasa iko katika ngeli gani?
Ni ngeli ya mua kwetu sasa, kama wala ambao tunapenda kuainisha haya majina. Na even in terms of the policy, nilijaribu pia kusukuma hiyo maneno kwa language policy so that they may also try and change. And tunaambia wala wanaandika vitabu, waandishi wa authors, wajaribu pia waweke ngeli ya mua, sio kututiza ngeli ambazo
ya kivi.
na wakati. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So kipofu, wapofu.
Yes, sasa siku hizi ni mpofu, wapofu.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Actually, unajua pia language inaendanga ka ina evolve. Yeah, yes. Inaenda ikibadilika.
Yeah.
Now, who is mpofu number
1? Paul Mugambi, ukipenda mpofu number 1, is a disability influencer, content creator, digital innovator, award winner in different both locally and internationally. And also, what can I say about myself? I'm passionate about issues of social justice. And also, I can say that a humble person, but I'm also an artist. I sing. I used also sometimes to write poems sometimes back. What else can I say about myself? Hizo zingine tutaje baadaye tukiongea.
Unajua hizo titles ni mingi. I was like, okay. Wow.
Hata zingine tuachie hapo. Watu wafanye at least utafiti wajue ni nani kidogo.
So Paul ni mtu mmoja lakini with so many branches.
Ushasema sasa. Hiyo ndio sababu hata wao wanashindwa zingine kujidescribe by the way. So because people know me on different things. Kuna mwingine anaweza kuambia what I know about Paul Mugambi maybe is a artist, atakwambia hiyo story. Mwingine atakwambia mimi ni mentor wa wengine. Mwingine yani it depend with what you choose yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Great.
Yes.
Now Paul amezaliwa wapi? Amegrow wapi? Ameenda shule wapi? Unajua ndio ukwe hizo vitu zote hivyo this somewhere ulianzia.
So tuseme I was born sometimes back those in the early years of mid-80s yuko. Somewhere in a place called call it near Maua. And I schooled in the local places. But later on I had slight issues with my eyes. Then I went to St. Lucy's School for the Blind. And 1997, 4:36 p.m. I met some people who were fighting on the way. And then I tried to separate them. I was boxed to my eyes. Then nilizimia. I fainted. Then I was taken to a hospital. And got wrong medication. Then after that, they declared that my Kenya Power lighting was switched off permanently.
Wow.
So that's how I became blind. And I can see it was a very challenging time in terms of being young person. And then adapting to new things. And losing friends here and there. Tried to visit different places to see whether I could see. I remember that at a certain time I was taken to some pastors to pray for me. And you see, if you're not able to see, they tell you that it's your faith, which is not enough. So I was forced to You see, when these pastors pray for you, they push you to fall down.
Yeah.
And for me, I could work. So that miracle really did work for me. So at the end of the day, I was told you didn't have enough faith. At the end of the day, coming from a humble background, some things don't work the way you want. You'd love to go to school, but uko na that support vizuri. But Mungu ni nani, saa ingine anafungua barabara ambazo sizo zijua. So I happened to get someone to support my high school, an Italian lady called Nucci. And there we were, and then I was able to pursue my high school at High School for the Blind Thika. Then later on, I joined Kenyatta University, where I realized a lot of what I was experiencing before in terms of stigma, discrimination. That's when you realize that, oh, you've been experiencing some things and you never used to speak about them. So, like back then, you'd find you're being bullied in school, pengine, and then you don't understand this, unafikiria kama ni life tu ni kawaida, but at the end of the day, unakuja kurealize there are some things which you're supposed to be knowing and doing them. So, through those experiences, I was able to join other persons' abilities to fight for social human rights spaces there, asking for inclusion, because that's the time when you went when the universities were not open to persons' abilities. We were forced to do education, and maybe it was not my liking. I remember that time that I wanted to take law, but when I went to University of Nairobi, I was denied the opportunity because they said that they don't have the systems in place and such things, such excuses. But we live to fight for another day. Then, as much as we were forced to do special needs education, which I did. So, by the way, I'm supposed to be a teacher in a classroom,
Okay.
but now I'm teaching another things in different way. So there at the university, I was able to really push the disability agenda and also fight for student rights. I became a student leader there, change of the constitution, and also in the current, what people are also celebrating, the 2010 constitution. I can say I was also part of that journey. So when people are celebrating the heroes of issues of rights of persons, abilities, and inclusion in the constitution process making, I was there. So I'm very proud to know that in the history of the legacy of the country, my name is somewhere there. Maybe many people didn't know about it.
Okay.
Within the university also, I also founded sports for persons with abilities. We had this game called goalball for persons who are blind and visually impaired. These are it's like it's like volleyball, but played while people are squatting. Just 3 persons on either side, and then you throw to the other side of the people. Then we had also sitting volleyball for persons with physical disability, swimming, and all that stuff. So I started as an initiative because I saw that persons with abilities were not being involved in terms of hobbies, activities there, and I found that we also need to be engaged because you know that we normally say I don't mind devil's work.
Yeah.
And also persons' abilities are not spared when you have the devil's workshop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. You know,
Yes.
I'm really like, I don't even know where to start from. Okay, let me take you back back a little.
Yeah.
Um, actually, I thought you were born blind. Actually, that's like that. I
No,
was
it's
shocked.
just that maybe you feel me when you have interacted with you.
Yeah.
I accepted and I'm easy to socialize and also adapt. Because one of the things which I normally tell people or encourage, especially those who are newly blended person, or even in case you get a disability.
Yeah.
First of all, accept the situation, and then you'll be able to handle other things.
Yeah.
Because when you stay in your own cocoon there, and you're not able to really come out and do anything for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
the society will see you as a burden.
Uh-huh.
And at the end of the day, when you become a burden,
Uh-huh.
you're not able to move on with your life yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And also you become sort of a whole issue to be discussed by the community. As much as we still have those issues of people person can be able to walk by himself.
Yeah.
People do talk, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Uh-huh.
since me, I'm very sociable, I don't take it as a bad thing.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes I can even interact you when you're talking like that and ask you, ah, okay, I'm walking. So it's
Yeah.
like this person gets shocked to know that, oh, could be this person also can hear. Because sometimes many people assume that blind people
I can't
can't
hear.
hear. So when sometimes I get to interact with the people when I walk by myself,
Uh-huh.
they're like, "Hey, wewe unajifanya unaona."
Yeah.
So me, I tell them it's just a question of adapting
Mm-hmm.
and also trying to know that being in this life, you have also to play hard, because it is like a hustle too,
Mm-hmm.
because there are all challenges all over, and
Yeah.
everyone faces these challenges.
Yeah.
But for persons with disabilities and more the blind person, we face double tragedy, because you are not seeing where you are going.
Yeah.
You're not sure whether you will meet the Kidero potholes
Yeah. Uh-huh.
or the bandy gullies on the road,
Yeah.
or even you meet these dirty trash on the road, maybe when you're walking.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you need that self acceptance,
Mm-hmm.
and you should have that high self esteem for yourself, so that when you walk confidently.
Yeah.
So when in case I find myself in a hole,
Uh-huh.
uh, sometimes I normally get shocked when some people maybe they sprain their legs or they get broken,
Yeah.
because as we face these challenges on a daily basis.
Uh-huh.
But since we walk with confidence,
Uh-huh.
sometimes we walk, you might meet yourself that your leg has entered the hole,
The portal, then
but you
you're
come out
yeah.
very well.
Uh-huh.
So it is just a question of us being that confident.
Uh-huh.
I remember this joke I used to tell people that maybe as we discuss further, I'll explain you how it came to be.
Mm-hmm.
Is that see, in the northeastern part of the country,
Mm-hmm.
it is very is a desert place.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I used to work in the Dab refugee camp,
Uh-huh.
there are these snakes which are normally bite people.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I've forgotten the name, but what happens is that they normally bite people with sight.
With sight.
And me, I was never bitten anything
Yeah.
by any.
Uh-huh.
So I used to tell them that it's just that I walk very well, and these snakes they
Uh-huh.
listen.
Uh-huh.
And when me I don't run away very fast when I hear them. So while you'll see you'll see it and run, me
Uh-huh.
I'll just pass there comfortably, slowly, and it won't bite me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
You know, actually, you have said about acceptance, and which actually is very important,
yeah.
because you know, like that is like a switch. You know, maybe something that is happening like very quickly before when you understand it, like it has happened.
Yes.
And you said you are very young. Is there any time in life where you just be like maybe like condemning those people? Like maybe if it wasn't for them, I couldn't leave this station.
Those moments are there because we often face challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, if you have applied for jobs there,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're like, these guys are not giving you a job
Mm-hmm.
because you have a disability, or they are seeing that they are looking at your the way you can come and perform. They are not looking at your capability, your qualification.
Yeah.
So it becomes sometimes that one.
Mm-hmm.
Because what my experience, or even the experience of many persons with disabilities, is that we have to play 10 times
Mm-hmm.
for opportunities all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
because the society does not understand us because of the existence of the stigma, discrimination, the cultural barriers, and also the environment which we are, and the, let's say, the communication and also the institutional barriers which exist. When I talk about the institutional, is most companies maybe they have policies which are not inclusive. Maybe when they don't have issues on how they can include me into their workplace or enable me to work just like another individual. Or even, let's say, for example, like now when we talk about internet being when it's not accessible,
Yeah.
when you're not able to navigate well, maybe the website is not well, maybe someone might think that you cannot do that work, but at the end of the day, it's the barrier which is there. Or when we talk about access to materials like braille or alternative mode of communication, they're not there. Because I remember that at campus, we didn't have braille books. We didn't have the current, maybe even the soft Microsoft Word documents in existence. We used to rely totally on volunteers to read for us. And I'd like to tell those, especially those who volunteered to read for us, thank you very much. Really appreciate, because it was really a struggle. Because imagine that you have those hard copy books, you have to find time, get people to read for you, and then you have there to ensure that whatever you read, it sinks into your head, so that during the cards or the exams, you are able to respond accordingly. And due to the poverty level, by the way, we used to recycle the braille papers that time. And you know that a cost of a braille paper rim, it's like 600 or 700 shillings. While a paper and a pen, you'll find them for 10 shillings.
Wow.
So you see those inequalities
Yeah.
which exist within our system or our country or the education system really prevent a lot of many blind person, even persons' abilities to pursue their dreams or
Their
even
dreams.
education. So at the end of the day, I can tell you that you face those moments when you're like, ungekuwa unaona, ingekuwa kama like Irene hapa,
Yeah.
I would have been the best radio TV presenter somewhere
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Because these are the things which make that difference. And sometimes we have really to fight these battles. Because as the way I was telling you in my introduction, all those things, it's just a question of trying many things so that you can see how you can, as a hustler, how you can make life become better. Because currently is like a situation whereby the society has forced persons' abilities to play ahead of others. So sometimes people might think we are doing this sababu tunataka we want really to be somewhere else, but at the end of the day it's society, because you find that those ambao tulisoma na wao, maybe they are better off, they are doing better things. Though I'm not complaining, but at the end of the day, it's the reality of the day. You
Yeah.
might find that maybe this person is doing a particular issue, but based on the discrimination and the stigma which the society has put upon us, we have to play 10 times. Yeah, in different forums. That is whether it is either socio, economic, or even the political scene. Yeah, because sometimes we are not even invited in some activities.
Yeah.
So that's why you find that you might not find a lot of persons' abilities in cultural activities in the community,
Yeah.
in the public participation forums, within the stakeholders or the duty bearers. So at the end of the day, some of us, we have to fight for those spaces so that we can get our voices to be heard. Not just voices to be heard, but to offer some sort of direction so that people can recognize, oh, even you do exist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think like the search is just ignorant about it, or it is like um it is like, is it ignorance, or it is like we are not, like we don't have like that information like about the people living with disability?
I think it's both ways, because it's sort of ignorance, and lack of responsibility too, because I normally look at it like this that we, as we grow up, even if sometimes people claim that they don't see us in the community, but when you sit down with some individuals, when they become educated about issues of disability inclusion a bit here and there, some of them might even try to tell you, "Oh, yes, I remember I have a cousin who looks like this, who has this," you know. So they start mentioning different types of physical disability, intellectual disability, issues of short stature, and then people try to relate. But at the end of the day, they are the same guys who will deny us opportunity,
Yeah.
and also our own culture, our society, the way it has been trained, or the way people have been socialized, is that person's abilities do not exist in their mind. So it becomes a question of whereby when you see a person with disability, you're like, oh, these are something which has happened. We need to look on what we can do about it. So it becomes a question of whereby now people start to think how they can just bring us on board, but not necessarily giving us quality inclusion. Is what I normally call tick boxing exercise, whereby, for example, uh, you have an activity somewhere, then you just invite us for the sake of inviting us, but we are not given opportunity maybe to speak, or you have not provided support system or what we call reasonable accommodation to ensure that they participate well. For example, there's this issue whereby we've been pushing so much that when people organize forums in the public barazas, they should also provide braille material for people to read the information they are giving, or provision of sign language for persons who are deaf. So it's a situation whereby I can tell you that the society itself finds it's a situation whereby, yes, it's ignorance, but also lack of information or even lack of awareness to some people, but also the practice which has been there. And also, mostly, especially for persons with sensory disability like mine, many people are used to physical disability, and that's why you might find that persons with physical disability are more visible than other disabilities, and the community tend to think that when you talk about persons with abilities, if you've involved persons with physical disability, you've included all, which is not the case.
Wow. And there's a time, I guess like 2 to 3 years ago, I saw there was a journalist actually who was investigating these claims that there are people actually who are just okay, who are not like disabled. They're using these people to get money. Actually, they're using them as business. Yeah.
Okay, I have two versions of the story. Number one is that persons with abilities face a lot of barriers, or let me say inequalities within the community.
Yeah.
And since the society is not serving them right, it's the same society who are ready to support the begging, let me call it begging strategy
Yeah.
for some of us.
Uh-huh.
Whereas I may not support the begging issue as such,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, I didn't, beggars are richer than even yourself.
Uh-huh.
Do you know that?
Okay, I cannot say because
You have
like,
not established that.
yeah.
But from my own investigative stories, or reaching out to some of the beggars, no, I can tell you some stories. Since you've talked about some years back,
Yeah.
there's a time I used to work with the government sometimes back,
Uh-huh.
and not even the government itself. I used to, there's this road called Ronaldingala in Nairobi, and that is, I used to stay in Thika Road those days. So, and there are beggars on that street.
Yeah.
So one of the strategies which I used to reach out to them, I used to go and listen to them, talk to them, and I normally, because some of them, they are persons who we schooled them, but they were ahead of me in high school for the blind. So at the end of the day, you listen to them, understand them, and they tell you the whole story. So it's why I'm saying that they are richer than me is because some of them own their own rental houses, and me, I don't own a rental. And they know that even if they're empowered, some of them, they sell the support materials given to them. The other version, why I told you there is another version of the story, it is because there are those trafficking individuals who collaborate with the Tanzanians
Yeah.
to bring people from Tanzania.
Yeah.
So they bring people because of the way the poverty levels, the way has a person with a disability, it's an increase of poverty levels because you have to incur extra expenses to deal with these issues of disability. So when these Tanzanians, they face poverty there in their country, they collaborate with the merchants here in Kenya, especially in Kariobangi South there, who rent some places, and then they organize these people. And then they place these people strategically in town. And these people who beg, they have different disabilities there. But also, as I told you, there is a different version. There are also persons without disabilities, whereby we sometimes the society call them that they're okay, but I don't support that term okay because everyone is okay. It's just a question that we are persons with disabilities. We have what I call impairments,
Oh, impairments,
which different. So we are all of us the same. It's just a question that as we have these impairments. So you find that some people there they come and put some on their legs. They apply some tomato sauce,
Yeah.
some products there, so that you see that he has maybe a wound which has not healed, or even sometimes they fold their legs,
Yeah.
so that they make themselves to look as if they have the disability. But in case city council carries come, they are able to run very fast. So some of these things, these are people within our own community. And it's a question of also poverty and the way the social protection has been tailored. It is not inclusive, it is exclusive. So at the end of the day, for me, I look at it like that, and I hope that I've answered that question.
Yeah, actually you've answered it. And then
Yeah.
in this, since the 2010 constitution, there have been like I don't know, but maybe you'll tell us. We have been like leaders who have been maybe nominated, and maybe it is nomination or how is it, like people representing like people with disability.
Yes.
Do you feel like you have been given like that platform to fight for the people with disability?
Wow, that's a big story because when you look at the 2010 constitution, especially Article 54, it talks about representation at both public and private sector in both elective and appointive positions. This is a big issue because one of the things is that according to the Public Service Commission, Kenya currently in public sector, they are performing at 1.1% in terms of employment opportunities for persons with disabilities. When you talk about representation in the three houses, that is in the Senate, Parliament, and county assemblies, you find that in 2017, 17 counties never had representation of persons with disabilities because political parties submitted the wrong names and the opportunities were taken away by flower girls and flower boys. Because not necessarily when people talk about political terminologies, they say flower girls, but we have flower boys now. So what happened is that we had fake persons with abilities representing persons with disabilities. So we are hoping that this now 2022, things will change because we've been pushing this agenda and trying to educate the public or even the stakeholders, that is the political parties, civil society, and also aspirants with disabilities, so that they can know their rights and also be able to know the election processes and such things. Then, to your question, which is very crucial, has the representation worked well for persons with disabilities or not? That's it's what I call half glass full situation, because yes, we've been represented maybe at the Senate and the Parliament and a few counties, but the fruits have not yet reached to the common persons with disabilities. Simply because our representative with disabilities, they also come back to us and complain that they have not been empowered enough to represent us. So, but at the end of the day, you can really say that, yes, there's a bit of movement. We cannot say that we are still stagnant, because there are few, there are what we call low-hanging fruits which have been there. For example, we've seen that persons with albinism have been recognized more, and also the issue of allocation of resources to some programs, a bit here and there. Although we are not yet there, we are not saying that it's enough. It's just a tip in the ocean. So we need to do more in terms of what goodies are given to persons with disabilities. Secondly, there is a bit of laxity in terms of disability inclusive policies, because even with the current form, we don't have the latest Act of Persons with Disabilities. It was almost there, but the Parliament shut down when it has not yet been approved. So we hope that in the next government, it will be prioritized. We've seen a bit of issues around pushing the agenda of issues around employment of persons with abilities a bit here and there. We've seen a bit of movement in terms of like the ombudsman. We have a deaf commissioner. In the gender commission, we have a person with a disability there. So these are just small gains, which I was talking about, the low-hanging fruits. And there are some state entities which do not have persons with abilities. And we are hoping that in future, like the IBC, such entities, Public Service Commission, such entities should have representation of persons with abilities, because it is our right, and also it's something which is recognized, because persons with abilities are the largest minority. According to the World Health Organization, or even the global statistics, they say that 15% of the population are persons with abilities. And since I also run a YouTube channel, I normally tell people that when you talk about persons with abilities, they are the largest economic powerhouse after America and China. I'll cite you examples so that you can understand this analogy of mine. It's simply because, for example, I, as a person who is blind, I use transport, and maybe when I'm walking, I might have a sighted guide. So I have to pay for this person, maybe transport. Maybe when my white cane breaks, I'll have to take it to a fundi. Maybe when I want to buy braille material, I have to buy. So you see, that's an economic powerhouse, and people ignore us. So in case people invest in terms of us, they'll also be creating business for themselves. So people should not be ignoring us. They should give us opportunities so that we can also empower us and also make our society much better. People should stop seeing us as a burden, but as an economic powerhouse.
Okay. And we have had or we have seen like a lot of cases parents with children with disabilities, maybe hiding them, I don't know. They're not actually, there are those parents who have not like
Accepted.
accepted, at the same time there's a culture where you find like there's there's been like divorces in families where you find like once they realize like they have like a disabled kid,
Yes.
you see they started like blaming each other. Maybe from our side we have never had something like this one, a lot of maybe the culture, I don't know,
My
is,
experience is,
yeah.
I can tell you that there are cases, many cases of this,
Yeah.
and it's simply because of the culture
Mm-hmm.
and also the lack of support system.
Mm-hmm.
They have just said because uh, one of the things is that many a times opportunities are not there within the community.
Mm-hmm.
You find that many parents give opportunities to children without disabilities,
Yeah.
and then later on they give us.
Yeah.
And then many parents or caregivers, they have not seen the benefit of supporting a child with a disability.
Yeah.
That's why you find that there are such cases.
Mm-hmm.
And Makiu, even I know that big persons within government and without parliament, within government and without,
Mm-hmm.
who have children with disabilities, but they don't like exposing them
Mm-hmm.
because they are fearing the exposure of the community. What will the society think about them?
Yeah.
If, let's say, a politician is seen with a person with a disability or a
Mm-hmm.
child with a disability,
Yeah.
will you vote for that politician?
Mm-hmm.
It's a big no,
Mm-hmm.
because society has not yet embraced
Mm-hmm.
or has not yet known the importance of having person with disabilities on board.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you some experiences myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you see, I'm a public policy scholar,
Mm-hmm.
and you see, as a hustler, since I'm self-employed,
Mm-hmm.
I try to help people improve their policies, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or even try to participate in this engagement which can improve maybe your policies to become more inclusive. I won't mention names, but I remember I tried to reach out to some of those who are vying
Mm-hmm.
for governorship, MP, senatorial position
Mm-hmm.
to just help them to make their policies to become more inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them that I'm qualified, I know these things, I can help them. I've studied these, I have my degree, etc. here and there,
Mm-hmm.
but they do not recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
They see your disability.
Mm-hmm.
So, in case it is happening to me, who is qualified,
Yeah.
who is speaking for himself as a self advocate for persons with disabilities?
Mm-hmm.
What about the child there who is in the village,
Mm-hmm.
who who has never stepped outside that house?
Mm-hmm.
They are hidden behind the corridors there.
Mm-hmm.
When visitors visit that home,
Mm-hmm.
this child is just there, and it's just all that when visitors come,
Yeah.
they just count. Like you've even made me to remember that, especially during the census
Mm-hmm.
2019.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that many people are telling me stories of how
Mm-hmm.
they were not counted because within their families they
Mm-hmm.
were saying that we have this number of people, but there's also another person here.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, even that recognition that you're a person,
Mm-hmm.
it's not even there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a question of a protection which exists in the community,
Mm-hmm.
because many people do not believe in the potentiality or the capability of persons with abilities to be independent.
Mm-hmm.
So you might find that the society will hang on to lives of persons with disabilities. So it becomes a big issue. You've asked me a question about why we have a lot of single parents or divorces when parents get children with disabilities.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big issue because I have a lot of friends of mine
Mm-hmm.
who come from that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's simply because of the way the society has been created. Our African culture
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
does not give recognition of women in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
and secondly, recognition of persons with disabilities. So we find that even within our own society, when bad things happen, it is a woman. When good things happen, it's the man who takes the credit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that even we don't have bad women.
Yeah.
They are there because there are also cases of whereby women have left their children with disabilities and ran away to get married to other people.
Yeah.
So it's the issue is that the larger majority or the larger people who have these issues of divorces or being left are women. And of course, it is because the society is a patriarchal society, which we come from.
Yeah.
And that's why you may see there's a lot of stigma and discrimination among with experiences among women. And when you see, when you are facing what we call intersectionality as a woman, you are a woman, and then you are being stigmatized because you have a child with a disability.
Yeah.
And then you are faced by a broken marriage.
Yeah.
What does society perceive you? You are a prostitute. They perceive you maybe you're a prostitute.
Yeah.
Maybe you did something wrong. Maybe you are cursed. And all these things, they are untrue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are misconception about like people with
Exactly, exactly.
okay. You know, in introduction, you told us like you are so many. Like it is Paul with so many like. But you told us like in university, you did education.
Yeah.
Was it like was that something that you wanted to do when you were growing up? You know,
Actually, I remember that in class 3,
uh,
I used to admire, you see, there's in many African community, there's this issue of FGM.
yeah,
And I used to meet the girls of my age, and I could hear within the community
yeah,
that people are experiencing female genital mutilation.
yeah,
So then I used to and I used to meet these parents of these people. I used to tell them, FGM is illegal. And I never used to know that it was illegal at that time. But I used to say, Mimi, when I grow up, I'll go and fight for these people. I'll be a lawyer. So I remember that there is a day when I was at home, and then there are these campaigns which are going on. And then I was called to go and talk about the experiences of why I've been talking about this, because people are saying, there's this boy from this who is talking too much about these issues.
FGM.
And then women were like, this is a lawyer we want in our community. So in the future, I was dreaming by that to be a lawyer. And that's why I told you that when I tried first to go to University of Nairobi, I was denied the opportunity. Then since I had good communication skills, I wanted to do communication, but it never was. But what happens is that even if you don't get what you wanted to do, you practice in another way. So in that area of communication, I remember back in campus, I started an illegal radio station.
Wow.
So I started my innovation back there then. It used to be called Comrades FM at Kenyatta University. And later on, since I was finishing, I never got the opportunity of practicing my presentation skills at KUFM, which came to be. So before KUFM came to be, they should be knowing that there is a person who started a station called Comrade FM. And it was very funny because we were a few people who used to own computers that time. You know, when you're having that high education loans board, and then you're a student leader, so you combine, you buy a big TV there and a computer there.
Yeah.
So I bought a computer desktop there, which you used to do what I used to practice in terms of the Comrade FM. Got a few devices here, and a few friends of mine. Then we had a station running within the university, and it helped a lot of campaigns. I remember the current the outgoing speaker and the incoming Mukoroini MP John Kagushia used to come and campaign in my radio station. So it is something which I really started a long way in terms of being a radio presenter, because I forgot to tell you I volunteer in one of the international radio station to present teaching people Swahili. So it happens that in that university time, I started that presentation skills there, and voila, here we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this that you are an activist. Huh?
I,
FGM activist. Were you aware like what FGM was? What was the
was-
effects, or you just knew like it was illegal?
No, I just knew it was illegal, but I didn't know what it was. So I just came to know it later on when maybe I went to high school there. Because you know that one of the things is that during our days, some of these things the society does not teach us.
Yeah. Actually, you're being told like it is bad, but they
is
don't tell
bad,
you
but
like
they don't
how.
tell you
Yeah.
what is that? What
Yeah.
is it?
How bad it is. Yeah.
Because that also reminds me that when you teach people who are blind or persons with disabilities, you have to be actually more practical with them, so they can understand what you are teaching them. For example, when people teach about map of Africa, let me give an example. People normally explain to us, but it doesn't make sense. But there is a way whereby you can adapt. Yeah, you take some materials. I'm now giving the practical bit of it so that you can understand. In case someone is watching there and thinking, wow, this guy is talking about something which is impossible. It is not impossible. You just need to adapt. So, for example, if you are teaching people about map of Africa, so what you do is that you take some beads, sand, paper, glue. Then once you've drawn it in print, you stick these things.
Oh.
Yeah, you see?
So that they can touch and then.
Exactly, that's the point. So you have to adapt so that people can be able to understand. So that you may not just be a theoretical person. And that's why you tell people that you need to provide things in alternative format so that they can be able to understand. Not tell people that, see here. And at the end of the day, I'm a blind person. Excuse me, I cannot see what you are saying. You have to make it more practical for me to understand.
Yeah.
Or even, you see, there are these children, we call them persons with intellectual disabilities, because I can speak about all disabilities myself, because I have the experience of staying with them, learning from them, and also interacting with them. So one of the things is that you have to be more practical in some instances. For example, when you're teaching them life skills, when you're teaching them about reproductive health, so that they can be able to understand that when a man touches you, it's bad, or when you're doing this, it is bad. And once you're able to do that, this person will be able to explain when maybe they are being exploited, such things. So I believe that you as a parent there, sitting down home there, you're having a child with a disability there, and then in case, voila, you find that your child has been raped there within the community, or they have experienced, they come and tell you that Mr. X touched me here, and you don't explain, you just beat that child. Please try and educate your child in a nice way, in a more practical way, so that they can be able to understand. And when you simplify the information, especially for persons with intellectual disability, or persons which you say that they have developmental disabilities, they can be able to understand. It's just that, do not say that they are these bad terminologies which people use, that they are idiots or they are mentally handicapped. No, they are not. It's just that you've not adapted to their way of doing things.
Yeah.
So that's what I can really say about that aspect.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your deal, woman?
No, so that's an interesting question. Let me come and discuss it another day.
Okay.
Yes.
Back to to education.
Yes.
After you did education, special
Special
education,
needs education. Yes.
special needs education,
Yes.
uliachia hapa ama after ulitengeneza na
Uh,
nini radio illegally?
no, I think what happened is that
Uh-huh.
starting to search for, what can I say? It's a greener pastures.
Uh-huh.
I joined the Tamaking network,
Uh-huh.
and opportunities were not coming.
Uh-huh.
So I had applied for more than 385 places,
Uh-huh.
and these are, what can I say? Uh, the way I was telling you about issue of discrimination, you are qualified, but
Yeah.
you are not seeing your potential.
Uh-huh.
So after applying for these places, there are some places which I had applied and then I was called,
Uh-huh.
and they promised to organize a special, let's say, special exam,
Uh-huh.
and that one was not possible.
Uh-huh.
So I had to think of how to challenge that issue,
Uh-huh.
and I thought of suing the company.
Uh-huh.
By that time, we didn't have the new constitution. Otherwise, I would have sued them very well.
Uh-huh.
But what I did, I was able to communicate with my networks,
Uh-huh.
and then during a forum with that company,
Uh-huh.
the CEO back then,
Uh-huh.
I don't want to mention the company because they might get a lot of credit,
Yeah.
was explained about my story,
Uh-huh.
and then the company started to, the CEO promised to employ persons with abilities,
Uh-huh.
and that's why that company currently
Uh-huh.
is working well in terms of improving issues of persons with disability.
Uh-huh.
So if they would have paid you here or they would have paid me, I would have mentioned them.
Uh-huh.
So, but I know that they are trying to improve the situation,
Uh-huh.
and that challenge of mine, I turned it into an opportunity,
Uh-huh.
and I know many persons with abilities have gotten the opportunities,
Uh-huh.
although not blind persons per
Uh-huh.
se,
Uh-huh.
because still people see persons with disability
Uh-huh.
as persons who are severely they cannot do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I also remember that during that time,
Uh-huh.
I'd applied in a bank company
Uh-huh.
where I wanted to be their PR person,
Uh-huh.
but the company saw me to be like a telephone operator, and me, I'm like,
Uh-huh.
with all these communication skills and the way I think of strategy or whatever,
Uh-huh.
how can I become really a telephone operator?
Uh-huh.
So I tend to refuse to enter into that place,
Uh-huh.
and then I just stayed put. So I happened to join a organization of persons with abilities called Blind and Low Vision Network,
Uh-huh.
and life skills promoters,
Uh-huh.
where I was helping them to work on issues around disability awareness, HIV/AIDS,
Uh-huh.
issues of awareness creation,
Uh-huh.
and through that, we were able to bring Nick Vujicic in Kenya that time to around 2006 there,
Uh-huh.
and then through that experience, I got an opportunity to work with the humanity and inclusion in the Dadaab refugee camp,
Uh-huh.
and that's where I really did a lot of humanitarian work for more than, I think, 7 years or 8 years there,
Uh-huh.
whereby I was able to advocate for inclusive policies, child protection,
Uh-huh.
uh, water accessibility,
Uh-huh.
issues around inclusive education,
Uh-huh.
issues around health inclusivity,
Uh-huh.
and also the question of employment.
Uh-huh.
And I know that there are some people with disabilities, both national, Kenyan nationals
Uh-huh.
with disabilities and refugees disabilities, who are employed because organization show, oh, organizations and
Organization.
organization were able to experience my
Uh-huh.
capacity there,
Okay.
and then the way I took them, the process of inclusion, they were able to understand even persons with disabilities can work, and that I created like a sort of a platform for many other people to be brought on board by different organizations, like Save the Children, Care International. Such organizations were able now to start embracing issues of disability, and Lutheran World Federation, etc. So you find that through simple, to me, they sound simple, but to many people, they see them. It's a great opportunity for them to at least to create that opportunity to break those barriers of attitude. And through that experience, I was able to be awarded by CBM International the Humanitarian Award in 2013. 2014, I think I also got an award from a Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2015, I think I got the Malaika Awards, the Activist of the Year, because I also do music. I advocate for rights of persons with disabilities as of doing music. It can be found on YouTube. Song I've done about Never Never Ever Give Up. Also a song I've done about my white king. It's called Heshima kwa Fimbo Yangu. I've done also a song about My Lane, which is all about accessibility. Then after that, I joined the government for 2 years, where I started the National Council of Persons with Disabilities office in Nairobi. I'm the founder. I'm proud to have done that. Then I was shifted to Meru. And later on, I disappeared in the air. Many people don't know about this story, but I disappeared to take my Masters of Public Policy.
Public policy.
Yes, in Australia.
Wow.
One of the best places in this universe. In terms of disability inclusion, and also in terms of management of public affairs. Yeah.
Wow. And you've said like Australia, it is best in inclusion of people with disability compared to Kenya. What have you learned, or what
Wow.
did you like learn there, and then maybe you brought it here?
That's an interesting thing, yeah? Because other than getting educated there, there are a lot of many things which I learned there, and maybe we can organize, we talk a whole episode about it. But for today, I can tell you that one of which I respect them for that, because they engage people meaningfully with and without disabilities to contribute to the what people want, not what the government wants. I can give you an example of transport. You know, there are different types of transport, whether it is rail, road, air, sea, etc. So in case the government wants to implement something there, they have to consult you meaningfully. You say what you want, what measures you'd like the government to do, and such thing when they're also doing the road testing or the testing of the rail, you have to be there so that they can change what you've given them to do it. But here in Kenya, it's the opposite. You might have good policies, which are very good, yes, I normally say, and have contributed to some, but when you come in terms of implementation, they are poorly done. Citing an example is we have the non-motorized policies, we have the metropolitan policies about the roads, but when you experience the Nairobi Express Highway, it is good, but it's not accessible. Even you without a disability yourself,
Yeah.
you cannot navigate that road because it was not built for us. It was built for a few who think they are politically correct. And you find that the top road, you can go freely. But this below road, you are not even able to cross able well, because even the bridges which they are put, they still have stairs, no ramps.
Yeah.
So imagine a pregnant mother, a person who is going to work, and again, they are being taken in a long distance where the vehicles or where the matatus drop you, and where these bridges are, it's far away. So in case the business are there, they have some of them have even closed down. I can tell you from my experience since I've been doing what we call civic education with one of the radio stations, where Madanta Hospital was. I think they have migrated because the road there was closed, so no one can cross. So in case you have to go there, you have either to use a motorbike or Uber or a Bolt. So at the end of the day, we have to rethink our thinking strategy in terms of how we talk about policies and how they can affect all citizens. That's one of the things which I learned. Another thing which I learned is that in sports, let me demonstrate to you. I have a ball here, and maybe ask you, what do you think it is?
It's just a ball with maybe, I don't know, something inside.
What kind of game?
This one? I can't guess.
Just try.
Maybe cricket.
Yeah, I think you got a. I think you got a hint because maybe you saw my clip with the.
No, actually, I didn't see that.
Really?
Yeah.
I suspect so because.
No, what makes me think like it can be like a cricket?
Yeah.
Because like gives a sound.
Why not tennis?
No, I didn't think about tennis, but cricket. And then I'm like, maybe when it is strong and maybe you want to hit it,
Yes.
you just see it coming, then you'll be maybe somewhere just waiting for
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
So in Australia, I learned to blind cricket. So it's just cricket, and then the balls are just like this. They have the sound, so that when you hit with the bat, you are able to hear the sound.
Yeah.
So I used to play for. You see, in Kenya we have what we call counties. So in Australia they have what we call states. And within the states they have 8 states in Australia, and in Kenya we have 47 counties.
Yeah.
So me, I used to belong to the Australian Capital Territory. That is what they call ACT, where the government is. So ACT is, I used to play for their team. So whenever these cricket games which to be played in Australia, they used to invite opening matches. The blind cricket teams would come and play. So when Australia used to play New Zealand, and even sometimes England, when they have this competition, they used to have games in Australia. I was one of the guys who were in those teams.
Okay.
So when I came to Kenya here, we don't. I'm the only player, but I'm hoping that in case the government will be interested to invest, I can help to start this game and help many more blind people also to become players, so that they can also earn a living from this game. Because with the sports, also people can get opportunities.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and I guess it can be like a very, very competitive tournament because we have 47 like counties. Now
Yes,
imagine
you can imagine that if we have blind cricket teams all over the country and then we compete, it will be very interesting, just like football or just like city, the volleyball, which is played by Malkia strikers, something like that.
Yeah.
So it will be very interesting to also have Kenya Stars blind cricket team.
Yeah, blind cricket. Wow. And
going to play India, New Zealand, Australia, and then
Wow. So government do something, or do something.
I hope so, because I believe that it's also an opportunity to breed new people and also bring new opportunities for persons with disabilities.
Yeah.
So you see, there's a lot which we can talk about Australia. Maybe we plan for another day to talk more, because there's also other sports.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of tandem riding?
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay, maybe we'll talk about it.
But yes. I've watched the football for blind. Actually, it is a certain ball. I don't know if it is heavy. I don't know.
No, it's just a normal ball, but with sound too.
Oh,
So I don't know whether you watch the. It's normally played by 5 people,
yeah.
and it's also in some countries in Africa they have started, but in Kenya it has started a bit, but it disappeared.
Okay.
So it's something I hope that since now we are having the blind spots are having new officials, I hope it's something which they can look into in terms of sports nurturing and bringing new things in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it should be like one way of nurturing people living with
Yeah,
disability
and
or
also
maybe blindness.
giving them opportunities because
Yeah.
other persons with those disabilities are being given opportunities.
Yeah.
Like you see a lot of these politicians, they are
Yeah.
having lots of tournaments of football,
Yeah.
and the blind are not involved.
Yeah.
So you really wonder, aren't they participants too? Yeah, so such opportunities need to be given.
Okay. Actually, there's you are an IT expert. Can I call you
Uh,
an IT expert?
uh, Something's really digital innovation.
Digital innovation.
So I can tell you that one of the things is that before I went to Australia,
Mm-hmm.
I was very green in technology,
Mm-hmm.
and you know that it's a story I've never told people, but it's something which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
See, we used to have these phones, Nokia and Siemens C45 there,
Yeah,
and
Motorola's.
yes, and they used to operate with the buttons.
Yeah.
I don't know how miraculous it was that time.
Mm-hmm.
We the blind people,
Mm-hmm.
even without sound, we could operate the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But what used to strike me most is that you are able to identify a number,
Mm-hmm.
dial, call,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things that we could not miss
Mm-hmm.
was up to date. I've
Mm-hmm.
never understood that miracle.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, once the smartphone industry started to open up,
Mm-hmm.
it was very challenging for
Mm-hmm.
me to use a smartphone
Mm-hmm.
because in Kenya we don't have systems to
Mm-hmm.
train people who are blind or visually impaired or persons with different disabilities
Mm-hmm.
on technology.
Yeah.
So me, even I never used even to have WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to Australia,
Mm-hmm.
you see these Chinese phones,
Mm-hmm.
I battery refurer.
Uh-huh.
Unajua sasa huku hakuna mambo ya fake products
Yeah.
kama hizi zetu za China zimejaa hapa Kenya.
Uh,
So you find that once ilipofura there is no
uh-huh.
communication anymore.
Uh.
Na singeenda kupata, there are no river road there.
Mm-hmm.
So huko ni either you are quality
Mm-hmm.
or you are quality or you are quality.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing I could do. I could not communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So during my one of the experiences in my school
Mm-hmm.
is that I told one of the I was linked up with one of the organizations for the blind,
Mm-hmm.
and then
That's in Australia now.
in Australia, yes,
Uh-huh.
they do training for visual impaired in terms of technology.
Mm-hmm.
The government gives them money to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a phone.
Mm-hmm.
So within the first 2 hours or three,
Mm-hmm.
I discovered that I could do these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I I was mesmerized.
Mm-hmm.
How can we do not to type? How can I do not to communicate?
Mm-hmm.
I'm now able to. Any, I was even when I tried to call some of my friends,
Mm-hmm.
when I tried even to call my mama to home, and
Mm-hmm.
I stayed for some time without calling them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, hey, I can now be able to communicate. I'm like, it's like sort of miracle which has happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started to interact with other blind people,
Mm-hmm.
this is something which is normal to them.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it became something which is just normal for me.
Mm-hmm.
So now that's when I started July
Mm-hmm.
this year. That's when people now started to know about this issue because people are surprised that there's a blind innovator in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So many questions are being asked, even within the social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
About people are wondering how could a blind person come up with this. It is simply that I normally tell people take your challenge to become an opportunity. Make lemon out of lemonade.
Lemonade out of
Yes.
lemon.
Yeah, you make lemonade out of lemon.
Lemon,
Yeah,
yeah.
I say. Tumeongea sana kumbe. So I think it's a question of myself. I like trying different things so that I can try to see whether I can make a difference. That's why I think I normally tell people that in case I'm placed in a house, I can redesign it in terms of even the way it's arranged so that it can suit my interests. So you might find the next time I might bring the bed in another place so that I can see that creativity in it. I want to see that thing.
Like, how do you see? You're saying like so that I can see. And then someone is like,
How
how
can
do you
you
even
see?
sense like this
Now,
is not
the
even
issue
well
about
arranged?
seeing it's very like this. When you talk to a blind person, our seeing is through touch. So me, I see through touch, so I can rearrange and arrange, clean the place, make it spotlessly clean. So and sometimes maybe I'll demonstrate to you. Sometimes I don't know whether you allow me to. Now, since you asked me about about the you asked me about a funny question there before, but it's something which now I'll do practically with you. Will you allow me?
Of course, of course, of course.
Okay, okay. Let me try this thing and let me hope that the sound will capture. We try this. Let me try this out. Let us. Okay. Today. Mhm. Okay. So let's hope that the internet will work here. So that I think my producer today will be surprised that I want to know your your face. Okay. So let's hope that the internet will work here. So that I think my producer today will be surprised that I want to know your face. Could you be the perfect woman I'm looking for? Okay.
You never know.
I never know.
Yeah, you
Keep
never
watching.
know.
Keep watching.
Okay.
Let's try this out.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
My name is Paul.
Yes, I'm Trevor.
I would like you to be my eyes.
It's okay, it's okay.
Now, today I'm seated here with a lady.
Yes, yes.
I would like you to describe her for me so that I can see whether I should spend fair on her.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that she has a beautiful smile.
Beautiful smile, okay?
Yes, yes. She's wearing a black top.
Black top,
She has glasses.
okay.
Yes, yes.
What else? Describe her face.
A beautiful face.
Does she have dimples?
Sorry.
Artificial.
Oh, even yourself, you're laughing.
Yeah, I'm trying to be descriptive as much as possible.
Ama, you want to give me competition?
No.
Eh?
Niko sawa, niko sawa.
Uko sawa?
I'm okay.
Usio compare Osafi.
Niko.
Eh? So continue describing.
I can see she's beautiful.
Yeah?
I think the rest maybe you can.
She can tell. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
So you see, that's the essence of technology. So
So that's someone That's someone.
Obviously, that's someone with technology. And I can tell you that for me, if ask me about the relationship I have with technology, it's as if it's my girlfriend's. And there's an article I've written, should people marry AI, artificial intelligence? In my website, you can check it out at disabilitysausagemedia.com. Because for me, simply technology has really created, they don't believe. Some of them, they can even abuse you. I remember tukianza mwanzo, some people could even doubt. So at the end of the day, you can also be bullied within the social media space. And for me, since mimi ni wale watu ambao ni hardcore sasa tushazoea hii, there's nothing you can do when they tell me you are blind. Kwani unafanya nini? Me, I tell you, yes, I'm blind. I'm blind. I'm very proud kwanza kuwa blind more than anything else. So I don't care when people troll me. Sometimes when I give controversial, what the people claim might be controversial statements, but because unaweza comment something which is yes is controversial or even good, but when this person realizes only blind, so they don't expect a blind person to talk about politics. They don't expect you to talk about social issues. They don't expect, so they expect a blind person be timid there, nyamaza hapo, tulia, kuletea chakula, lakini, but I think being who I am, I've tried to run away from myself by the way, but I normally find myself back because naona those inequalities zinanipush, ninajaribu kutetea wengine because sometimes it's said that you prepare the shade even for others. The tree which you plant today, it will be used by others so that it can make our world a better place. Because there are some people who are enjoying what we advocated for back in campus and even in the political system currently, but they forget that kuna watu ambao walipigana. So when they talk about technology, it's also part of trying to create that space which there is no space. And that's why I normally tell people that for persons' abilities, for us, we have to fight 10 times. Yeah. For example, if today I was to take you out, I'll have to convince you 10 times that ya kwamba tukienda pale, hata watakuangalia vile watakuangalia, you'll be strong. So, so those are the challenges you have to experience. Yeah.
Wow. I don't know even what to say anymore, you know. Honestly, like I'm like
Hata words hauna sasa.
Like what else? Actually, unajua kuna vitu zingine like that, like just because there's a certain time I was listening to kuna mwanamuziki alikuwa anaitwaje, Meriatieno.
I know her.
Yeah. So and she was describing her husband like, I know I'm married to this one handsome guy, and then I was like, hey.
No, you see, there are two ways.
Yeah.
We rely too much on communication.
Yeah.
As blind and visually impaired person. So how you communicate to me matters a lot. And then the description which I'll get from another person, or using an application the way I've used. And through that, depending on your intuition and the consciousness, you'll make your own decision.
Yeah.
So, and most of you also find whatever you see in me, you won't see in other blind people.
Yeah.
So don't expect that all blind people will be like Mpof number one here.
Yeah, sure.
You won't meet many blind people who can socialize with you.
Yeah.
Who can even dare to dance with you maybe. But some of us will try and do it. And many other things. We are trying to break the notion to the society that we can do this. Give us that chance and do it. Give us those opportunities. Love us. Give us those opportunities.
Yeah.
Employ us.
Yeah.
Give them opportunities so that they can be part of the society. Because inclusion is in the mind, and the society is judged, or the way the society is civilized is a level of inclusion. If you're able to include us, everything will be okay.
Yeah.
You won't, if you're able to include us in all your activities, you won't see us making that noise. You won't see me having that Disability Sausage Media YouTube channel or the website I have to talk these issues because I know that everything is okay. But since the site is made like that, we have to continue pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And will you tell the viewers where they will find you, your social platforms?
Oh, please kindly support my YouTube channel, Disability Sausage Media. On Instagram niko hapo under the same name, Facebook pale, and then on issues of inclusion. Kama unataka kupata some messages there, anything about accessibility, climate change, issues about mental health issues there. Kwa Twitter niko pale Disability Sausage Media. And then I also have another Twitter handle called at Mpofu #1. That's where I normally talk about a bit about my music, humanitarian work, different experiences. Na please, I'm self-employed. So in case you'd like to support my work, nitafute huko, and then you see how we can work together. And also those who are interested in technology, let's hook up so that we can make world a better place. Available in those social media sites. Now, if you want the phone number, it's also available. 0722231815. And please kindly do not hide your children with disabilities. Give them opportunities so that they can become a better version of themselves. And what I can tell the viewers of this TV channel is that do not fear starting again when you make mistakes, or when you're feeling that you are down. Do not dwell there, because if you have an experience, it should teach you a lesson. You should not just stick to one place. Just move on. Don't just stick there. And when you're at home, when you have a person with a disability, give them the opportunity to be himself or herself. Because once you do that, this person will become part and parcel of your community. I've tried to simplify that language because sometimes when you, sooner or later, I'll be helping to solve problems for other persons without disabilities. Because one of the things you have learned when you are able to solve digital divide for persons with the disability, you'll also be helping other persons without disabilities.
Yeah, sure.
It's just that we don't have power here. I would have also demonstrated some, it's called a smart speaker, where I was telling you that I have a girlfriend, she's called Alexa. So in case I want to know anything, she tells me. I communicate with her very well.
Okay.
I ask her what is happening in politics all over the world, sports, and I want to know results, and I want to know capital cities, current longest river, such geographical things.
Okay.
When I want to listen to podcasts, such things. So at the end of the day, what I can tell you is that actually why I came on on board is because I was I was chatting and responding to people on Tuko, where they had featured the story about my innovation, and people were asking funny questions there, and I was happily responding to them. And some of those comments are really making me even to laugh. Because if it was another person, it would have just been like, why is this person doing it, abusing me or saying this to me, or thinking in this direction. But for me, since I know that it's lack of awareness or that thing which is making this person to think on this way, so me, I was just responding while laughing. So I was just enjoying the moment. Yeah.
You know, at times it can be like a laughing, but someone somewhere is like, hey dude, I want to know this thing, the way it works, you know.
Yes.
And actually about the app, is this app like is it for the blind people
Yeah,
only?
it's for persons who are blind and visually impaired. So what it works is that it works through volunteers all over the world, whereby you open the app and then you call so long as you have the internet. So that's why I was saying that the experience of person with abilities, our life sometimes is very expensive. So that's why I was telling you that we have to invest in terms of disability cost. So for example, for me, I have to invest in a good phone, and then I have to invest in internet. So sometimes, because there is even self-employment, you can miss food, but to ensure that you have the internet so that you can be able to navigate or do your things. Because sometimes in the house you might have someone ambaye amekuja akatembea and then anakuja aka disarrange vitu. So unapata pengine kuna hizi chupa mbili zimefanana, moja pengine ni ya tomato sauce, nyingine pengine ni ya pilipili, and then maybe you don't take pilipili and then you're like, oh, you as a blind fellow, what will you do here?
Yeah.
Or you want maybe to wear a certain cloth, or you want to, you have to really to adapt. The thing is to adapt, and also cater for extra cost. So sometimes I normally tell people that we are, as blind persons, we are poor but expensive.
Yeah.
So we are poor in this analogy that we don't have money.
Yeah.
But we are expensive because you can invest in technology and in many things.
Yeah.
And in case I want to go to a place, I have really to have that extra cash. So I'm still poor, but an ability to now.
Unakuwa expensive because it means like an extra cost.
Yes.
Wow.
That's why we have really to ensure that we become really economically empowered so that we can also be able to cater for these extra costs. Listen to people, they tend to give you big words which are not supposed to be there. You just have supposed to be simple, clear, so that that person watching this channel can be able really to understand that we are not what I can call extra human beings. We are just normal. We're just trying to play our role in society to make the world a better place for everyone.
Wow, I don't know what to say anymore. Actually, you have finalized everything that you wanted to say. But punchline is inability, disability is not
Inability. And never ever give up.
And never give up.
Yes.
And please, Will Pina is a YouTube channel link there. So guys, you can go there, subscribe, comment, and actually you learn more.
And ask those questions. Please don't fear me. I don't fear those questions.
Yeah.
Even don't assume, ask, so that you can get the response which will help you to either help yourself or either help your relative. Because sometimes you might think that you're asking for yourself, but you're also helping another person. Thank you.
Sure.